Kevin Lorenz, high yield had a great start to 2015 after it essentially crashed at the end of 2014 due to problems in the oil sector. But lately it's really been tailing off. So what can we expect for the second half in the high yield sector?
We continue to see value in the high yield asset class. Currently yields are about 6.5%. Spreads are about 500 basis points over Treasuries. And this is an environment where the default rate continues to be very benign. We've been under 2%. It's leaking a little bit higher. Long-term average is roughly 4.5%. We continue to think that the default rate's going to stay relatively benign, that you're getting paid well for the fundamental risks. And so for long-term investors, we think high yield is a good place to be.
What about issuance? That's something that always affects high yield prices.
Issuance year to date through May was running ahead of last year, very strong. Continues to be dominated by refinancing. In June, with some of the volatility in the market, issuers being opportunistic have pulled back. And so most recently, issuance is now lagging last year, but not by a material margin. It really depends on just the market stabilizing.
And speaking of volatility, we've got a lot of it right now, whether it be Puerto Rico or China or Greece affecting the market. So can you talk about how high yield investors should react to the choppiness they're seeing in the market?
That's a great question. It's really a matter of time horizon. High yield, if you look at high yield over the last 30 years, over short periods of time, it has shown to be very volatile. If you take a longer time horizon, investors making a strategic asset allocation, returns tend to be dominated by the income as opposed to that price change. And so we really advocate investors thinking about high yield as part of a long-term asset allocation as opposed to a short-term trading vehicle.
Let's drill down a little bit further. One name you like in the high yield space is Univision. Clearly they don't like Donald Trump, but you like their bonds. Tell me why.
Univision is an LBO from 2007. The company has done very well. One of its core advantages is a long-term partnership they have with Grupo Telemundo for programming. That really positions the company well. They have dominant assets across cable television, broadcast, and radio. And now, most recently, there's been news in the last week that they have filed for an IPO. So we see that as a further catalyst for deleveraging and improvement in the credit story.
And you're also positive on Cheniere Energy Partners paper. Why this pipeline player in particular?
Cheniere is the first company in the country to get permitted to build an LNG facility. They're very far along in that. It's going to come online starting in the end of 2015. The beautiful thing about Cheniere is they have 20-year contracts with investment-grade companies, ensuring their revenue stability. And we're fundamental investors looking for free cash flow. And that revenue stability will lead to very consistent free cash flow generation.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching The Street.